Thank you, everybody. If you don't mind, we're going to be seated and kind of like a fireside chat, only no fire and no chat, really. Welcome. How are you feeling?
Great.
How was breakfast?
The speaker was interesting.
Speaker was okay. I haven't had scrambled eggs for like a decade. I don't know why. I haven't been avoiding them. I just didn't have them, and they were good, man. Rene is going to talk to you a bit about nutrition today and self-care. She has a great saying that self-care is not selfish, and it's an important message for president-elects because, and I was president too, of course, we start to think so much about other people that we stop focusing on ourselves, and it's deadly because once you stop taking care of yourself, you're like less than. You can't be as helpful to other people. And my role today is to talk a little bit about, so if you can consider Rene about the nutrition and the inside of the body and your heart and how and your lungs and how you're taking care of yourself physically. I'm going to help you with the intellectual piece of it because there's a real strategy that goes, I think, to being an effective president and district governor. I've known Jeff Libran here for so many years. And when you have those strategies in place, you can be so much stronger and so much better. Rene, by the way, has also been president of the Troy Rotary Club, and she earned what was called then, I think they changed it, was it the Presidential Citation?
Oh, it was platinum. It was
with platinum distinction,
challenge.
Which means you hit, they still have it? What does platinum mean anymore? I can't remember.
Isn't it you over and exceed the goals that you were set?
Yeah, and they're not easy goals like membership and foundation. So I see some of you taking notes, great. So we talked earlier today, and then we'll fold in, and we're going to answer questions in real time, so you don't have to wait. Just interrupt. This is kind of a chat. So this idea of having big goals for your year, like what 3 things do you want to accomplish? You write it down in your notes right now. You don't know the answer, but what 3 big things are you going to do? And if you're stuck for inspiration, you could do membership could be one of your goals. Giving could be one of your goals. Maybe one of your goals is to find a better venue for the club. I don't know what it is in your club, but you should decide what it is going to be because people are going to talk about you in 5 years. And they'll say, that was the year we did this, or that was the year we did this. And you do not want them to say, that was the year we did nothing. Right? So let's start with the basics. Rene is a certified nutritionist. She's a chef. She's culinary arts degree. She's got all kinds of great gifts. And one of her big talks that people really latch onto, Rene, they love your talk about nutrition and eating and sleep and all these things that we kind of forget about when we're super busy.
Well, so I'm very excited that Rotary is now starting to really grasp the idea that in addition to all the things you're going to learn here, the mentors that you're going to have in your districts that are available to you, that your health, the underlayment of everything you're going to do this year is vitally important. I think we've all learned through the pandemic that without our health, we really don't have anything. So I want to challenge you this year that while you're setting your goals, while you're working hard, while you're out in the community, while sometime your hair's on fire because you're going to have those moments where it's like, how am I going to find the time? Make a critical decision this weekend that one of the most important things you can do for yourself this year is commit to yourself from a health standpoint. And that has to come first. You have to come first before your family, before your grandkids, before work, and before Rotary. You need to take care of yourself because you're also setting an example. So if you're a leader who is consistently tired, overbooked, overwhelmed, overstressed, not sleeping, all these things that are going on, you're also setting the tone for the leaders that are looking at you. That, wow, this seems like, sure, it's supposed to be really rewarding, but what I see is stress, 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 and a worn down individual. That would be the tone that you'd set. And I think we've all seen people like that. It's very easy to get so caught up in all the things that you want to do that you forget about yourself. And you can't.
So
you absolutely can't.
And just to help you reconcile this and get you over the hump, so we hear the number one slogan in Rotary is service above self. So here's a very together woman telling you to be selfish and take care of yourself first. And so your brain might say, well, how do I reconcile that? I thought I'm supposed to be serving others. And I always go to the fourth tenet of the four-way test, which is what? Beneficial to all concerned.
Yeah.
You see? So it's not either or, it's a then, it's an overlap. Because if she's taking care of herself, if you're taking care of yourselves, you can take care of the other people in your club. Got it? Okay.
So let's start with a couple of things that you can start to do immediately, because just like this weekend, you're going to be learning new things and you're going to be incorporating new habits. One of the single most important things you can do is try to get a consistent sleep schedule. I know this sounds crazy. Sure, you're gonna sleep enough. You're gonna have nights like last night, we were up a little bit late and then we're up this morning. It was a 5.5 hour sleep night. Well, that has repercussions in some ways. Over time, you're going to find that more and more of those evenings have significant repercussions. You may think that you're okay, but I guarantee you, physiologically, you're not. Cognitively, you're not, and you're not at your best. But to do that, you've got to have a schedule. And I mean, you got to map it out, right? You've got to say, okay, I've got all these meetings this week. I'm going to have to drive from here. You know that you're going to have these schedules. I've got this special event and these things I need to do. But even if you've got to put it on your calendar, I've got to be in bed by X amount of time. Because if you don't do it, it won't happen. And sleep physiologically is the thing that allows you to reset. Without it, you actually damage yourself at a mitochondrial level. I don't want to get into all sorts of science and stuff, but that's what happens. And the repercussions it's not like you can just catch up on the weekend, you know, like you used to when you're a teenager. It doesn't work that way. It actually takes weeks, sometimes months. And for some people, depending on where your health baseline is right now, you may never recover from it because it can cause a significant amount of damage. It's interesting, I don't know if it was maybe in the 80s where it started to become this great thing, getting by on 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, you know, something like that.
I don't need sleep.
It's not a superpower.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember that one?
You will. I mean, we never chide a baby that needs to sleep, or our grandkids or something. We see they're getting a little bit crabby and a little bit cranky, and what do? You put them down quick because they need to sleep. Well, we get the same way. So I encourage you, number one, start to look at your sleep schedule and actually make it a habit, just like a weekly meeting, just like planning speakers, whatever it is, but make it a consistent habit so that your base is strong.
Let's talk about food quick, and then I'm going to take you to presentation skills. Maybe 3 really good speaking tips that will help you mobilize the troops with the club. So we went through the buffet line this morning, just like you did. And it's interesting to me, the stuff they put out in the buffet. A lot of it is, if you think about how it goes, it's almost always even in the same order, right? The pastry and stuff comes first, and then there's fruit, I think this morning, and then there was potatoes. And then the eggs, and then the bacon. See, I think bacon should be first, but it was last. And then orange juice right before you go in. Another chance to get this influx. And what I've learned from the redhead is that it's almost like the tobacco industry. You know, cigarettes aren't illegal; they just kill you. And 19% of our intelligent population still smoke cigarettes. And I think this often when I go through buffet lines, when I see the pastry or the orange juice. And I used to drink a glass of orange juice every day. So this isn't to villainize anybody's habits or anything. Rene always says, because people actually pay her for food advice. And they always go, can I eat this? Can I eat this? And Renee's stock answer, I hear it a million times on Zoom and stuff. She says, you can eat whatever you want. Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker, used to say, nothing ever goes in my mouth without permission, without my permission. Isn't that a great line?
Yeah.
But when I went through that buffet line this morning, I made some choices about what was going to be on my plate and what wasn't. And Rene can tell you her advice on this, and you can ask questions because this will set you back because you were taught orange juice is good for you, or that it's no harm in having a muffin, but it turns out there might be.
Depending,
Yeah.
right? So demonizing foods doesn't help, and when it gets into food, and it's a pretty big conversation. The easiest way to think about it is, how do you want to feel? And then work the problem backwards. That's really the way to do it. Food is function. All your body's trying to figure out when you put stuff in your mouth is, how do I utilize this? Does it serve me here, 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 and here? It's looking for energy, right? And it's a chemical breakdown process. That's all the body's trying to do. So from a strategic standpoint, I look at, we're going to be in meetings all day long. We're going to be sitting a lot. That becomes actually quite tiring on the body. And even out of boredom, we may want to eat things that we wouldn't normally eat just because they're there, because we're a little bored, because we get a little tired sitting around, things like that. But if we start to look at, what do I need to fuel my body so that I can get through the day that I need to? Number one, you need water. Lots and lots of water. I think we all know you need to be hydrated. I rarely personally start the day with sugar ever, and that means no juice, no fruit, because it starts to send the body on a roller coaster of insulin up and down, which is an energetic thing, right? So rarely carbs, sugar, or juice in the morning. And with regard to juice, I think there was a time when juice was really healthy. If you're squeezing your own juice, I think it's got some benefits. Outside of that, you may as well be drinking Coke for breakfast, because it's got as much sugar in that thing of juice as a can of soda. So it does not serve you. In fact, it's going to make you crash. Eat a candy bar. If you're going to have if you're going to have juice, you may as well have a candy bar for breakfast. That's about how vital it is to your survival, and you're going to crash. As the day wears on, one of the things to think about, things that give you sustained energy, are things that have some protein. Leafy green vegetables or some sort of vegetables are often very good, and some form of quality fat. Bacon. Some sort of quality fat is the thing that's actually going to carry you through, versus, are there breadsticks? Is there muffins? Is there croutons on the salad? Then there's dessert on the table. And I'm not saying don't ever have those things, but it's an understanding of what's a balanced plate based on how you want to feel and what you want to get out of your day. The foods themselves aren't necessarily bad, depending on what's in them, but all these things in combination create a vicious cycle that's just going to keep you going like this. And you don't recover from that as easily as you'd like, honestly. And it does create some other damage.
Does anybody know why bacon is not, quote, not good for you? What do you think?
Because of the sodium and nitrates used to preserve it.
That's it.
That's right.
Because a lot of people say, well, it's grease, or it's fat, or it's meat, and none of those things are as bad as the nitrates, the nitrites, and poor quality bacon.
Yeah.
Almost all good food costs a bit more money than non-good food. And guess what was in the buffet line this morning? Cheap stuff that's bought in bulk, right? Not the kind of stuff you'd ever want to stock your pantry with.
Not to knock the hotel.
No,
I mean,
it's the business. It's the business that they're in.
Right.
All right, let's talk some speaking skills. I'm going to give you 3 tips that will change how you present, and more importantly, it'll change how the club thinks of you. One of the big problems you have as an incoming president is you were not president the year before, and now you're president, and you're saying, do what I say, or whatever, and they're like, oh, you're just the same person we always knew. So how do you come in with this new kind of influence? And it's called Podium Power. And it'll take you a few months to figure out that you have it, but you have Podium Power on July 1st. You actually have Podium Power anytime you're guest speaking or doing what we call a pop-up presentation. When you're in the front of the room, you have the power. Write this down. Power is perceived. If you think you have it, you have it. You've already seen a little assortment of speakers here at this event at the podium, and you can tell which ones believe they have the power and which ones are kind of like wannabes. They haven't figured it out yet. So they have the power, they just haven't convinced themselves of it yet, and then it comes out in words they choose, and the gestures like this, and diction, right? Even the space between the words, right? I use a lot of pauses and little jags just so that you're not getting that constant flow that never changes. You're going to get this dynamic from me in terms of speed, pitch, right? Volume. I think I shouted something this morning into the microphone just to make sure you were with me still. So Podium Power is the first thing. Second thing is this idea of, and I have a pretty cool video channel with tons and tons of speaking tips. Just go to YouTube and search my full name, and and there's a playlist for speaking. But search for this video called Yell at the Dog. It's got thousands of views, and I did it actually with a Rotarian, a female, came up. And I taught her how to have more authority in front of the room, just by turning up the volume. Because there's something about our society, it's not true in every society, but volume and speed translates to influence in our society. That's why when you hear motivational speakers or infomercials, they're always talking very quickly, they're kind of coming at you. You see they're always moving at the camera, moving toward the camera, they're in motion, right? All these little tricks that people use for influence. You need to use these tricks, nobody gets hurt, magic trick, right? But you never take advantage of anybody. So the second one is it's called the yell at the dog technique, because when you yell at the dog, you automatically raise your voice and you put some emotion in. That's what we want you to do in front of the room. So I want you to think about Sparky or Fluffy or whatever your dog's, what's your dog's name?
Cece.
Whatever. Clearly you did not name the dog, am I right?
4-year-old.
You know how that dog got named? The 4-year-old's like, what do I know? I know the alphabet. Let's see, A, B, C, that's good.
Yep.
Give her 2 C's, CC. The third technique is called a CTA, and that is a call to action. So there are 3 things that happen in meetings: announcements, discussion, and this action, right? So announcements are very quick. You can actually use email for that, text for that. You can make announcements on the Facebook group. Discussion is what happens in the meeting when you need input from people. It's a longer thing. It takes a little bit of time to ferret out a conversation. And then there's a thing called the call to action, or CTA, and that's when you use your presidential power, your podium power, to get the group to actually green light something, or yes, we're going to do it, or no, we're not going to do it, or yes, we're going to talk again about this. That's a CTA. But when you in front of the podium, you are obligated to give people a CTA, and you're going to be super gun shy about this coming in because you've never done it before, right? You're going to you're so grateful for their attention, you don't ask them for anything. And I hate it when a speaker finishes the presentation, they go, well, that's it. I just wanted to give you this information. It's the biggest lie ever told. They want you to do something with the information, and you want people to do something when you are at the podium. Like go get members, bring visitors, donate money, right? This kind of a thing. So it's called CTA. Got it? Let's open it for questions. We've certainly got a lot of cans of worms open.
Yep.
Questions about taking care of yourself, running a club, time management, motivating the club.
Fitting in exercise, often a really difficult thing to do in your year, but again, it's one of those things, like we're here at a conference where we're all sitting, there's breaks in between, but there's a lot of things you can do in between versus going to get a Catasona and a granola bar. What if you took a walk, right? Or what if you stayed in the room, or you got up from your chair because you're sitting a little while and you're starting to feel tired, and just go to the back of the room in a different chair and just do some squats. It's amazing how something as silly as that, but it starts to get your blood pumping and your blood moving. But again, even like with the sleep schedule, what if, as busy as you're going to be this year, you decide 1 day a week, minimum, I'm gonna have a 20-minute segment for myself in the morning. That's my exercise time. Doesn't matter what you do. Do yoga on YouTube, get yourself a little trampoline. If you've got a stationary bike, go out and walk, whatever it is. But take that time for yourself, because once you lay that down and it becomes a habit, you'll bring in some more, right? And exercise is the single most important thing you can do outside of sleep to take care of your body. There is no drug, no combination of drugs that reduce all-cause mortality, this is from Dr. Peter Attia, as exercise.
Amen.
And I think of it, you can call it whatever you want. It helps me to think of it as movement, right? Because we're gonna fly to Chattanooga to speak at Mid-South Pets next weekend. And we're gonna be in the airport a couple hours each time. That's 4 hours in the airport. Hello, do the math.
Yep.
And what do you do when you get to the airport? Well, you go sit down someplace, right? No.
Yep.
And so we'll use the restroom on the way in, and then 10 minutes later, I'll say to Rene, I'm going to go to the bathroom. She says, you just went to the bathroom. I said, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I don't need to use the bathroom. I'm going to walk that long ass hallway,
Yep.
and then I'm going to walk back again. because sitting down is not good for my being, you know? And when we get to Chattanooga, we're going to sit down in these rooms for these long meetings again, and I know
Yep.
that's coming. So there's like this flow and this balance to things. Yes?
Just to add something else, I mean, most people don't know, is that 20% of your health actually comes from, going to the doctors, taking your medicine, those kinds of things. But 80% of your health is your choices, the access to water, access to, clean, shelter, those kinds of things. But your daily choices, 80% of your health is you.
100%.
74% of all the food in grocery stores has unneeded sugar in it. And that's just additives.
That's a good one.
It's just
And sodium. Sodium's ridiculous.
Yeah.
sodium, but it's the type of sodium. Sodium itself honestly hasn't proven to be harmful to the body. It's the type of sodium
There's
that
like
they put in that.
65 kinds of sugar, right?
Yeah,
But a lot of them are chemical names. You don't even know what they are. Like, think about glucose, fructose,
Maltodextrin.
high fructose, corn syrup,
yeah, all that stuff.
refined sugar, brown sugar. Right? It goes on and on. So this was an aha for me during COVID. You know the nutrition labels on cans and stuff? They all have the daily requirement percentages. Look at the line item for sugar, and it doesn't say 0. What do you think it says? Anybody know? It's blank. You know why it's blank?
There's no daily requirement for sugar. It's not, just like there is, and depending on if there's anybody here in the medical profession, there is no daily requirement for carbohydrates either, complex carbohydrates. The body survives just fine without it. We've evolved for eons without it. There is no carbohydrate deficient disease that we're all suffering from.
And that was the potatoes in the buffet line this morning. Right?
Which doesn't mean if you like potatoes, right? It's not about demonizing. It's just understanding the choices. If you want some fruit and you want some potatoes, don't have the pastry, right? If you really want the pastry, you just make some trade-offs. And again, it's based on how you want to feel, the energy levels you want to have in a given day, and you just start working it back from there.
Well, they are a vegetable.
Yeah, you can find them right next to ketchup in the aisle. Yes, please.
I've always wondered, in conferences, because I go to a lot of them, why don't they ever have like a yoga breakout room? A 10-minute, you could go in there and they have somebody just doing simple stretches.
It's a really good question.
Dressing in your clothes to do.
That's,
Or
actually, it's a great
any
idea.
kind of movement. Why is it always move to room like cattle? Moo, and you just get in the next room, and it's an interesting thing. And I can tell you, as somebody that pre-COVID, it wouldn't be unusual for me to do 50 to 100 events a year. And so my break, and not today obviously, but I would walk around the hotel, or I would walk outside and walk the periphery of the parking lot, because I can see everybody. I'm not shortchanged on FaceTime. I'll find you, right? But on the break, and sometimes I'll ask somebody to go with me, somebody I really want to talk to, somebody I haven't seen for a while. So you just get creative about this stuff. I see everybody riding this escalator, like it's a Cedar Point ride. You could actually walk up the escalator while it's moving. Be safe. Consult your doctor before you try that. But the stairs, is anybody bothered with the stairs? No, because the escalator's so damn convenient. It's right in the center of everything. It's the flow. It's how they've got us positioned for the event. But you make an excellent point. Why? And Bala Murthy, by the way, in 6380 is a huge yoga guy. I wouldn't be
big
surprised
time.
to see them moving around more this year.
Yeah, they actually did some breathing stuff this morning already.
Yes, please.
I wanted to share, I actually do attend conferences where they do have breakouts for yoga, but I work for the YMCA.
Oh, yeah?
But it's new to that movement as well. We focus on health and development, and if it's new to the YMCA, it has to be very intentional.
Yes.
And so, it's not uncommon to be at a statewide meeting where we start with some deep breathing, or everybody, we're at a camp and we get out and we walk together, but it's a planned, intentional activity.
Yeah. Well, you
And,
watch when.
you can do that at your own Rotary meeting.
And it's
Absolutely.
fun. One second, Jeff.
Absolutely.
It's fun though when you watch the speakers. They'll say, "Okay, we're going to take a little stretch break," and you can tell who knows how to stretch
Right.
because some people just go, they don't really know how to do it, and then you see those people that go like this, go, and they just hang out, show off. That's what they are.
Work on your balance.
And I did this on stage one time with a Rotary actor, because I got to be careful who I have on stage with me. And and I didn't even tell her I was doing that. We were just playing like Little Simon Says, but she wasn't in on the joke, so she eventually starts doing what I'm doing. And then I get her to do this with me, and we have it on the video somewhere. It was hysterical. The audience is just digging it, you know. You're just wondering, how long can these people hold out? I think she beat me, actually, but it's a fun little exercise. And speaking of this, new presidents, you know, you have to have balance in life, right? You have to understand your capacity, and it would be good to improve your balance, because, you know, as we get older, we lose that a little bit of it. We lose the edge. Why do we lose it?
A
Because we're not
lot
doing
of it.
this kind of purposeful stuff.
A
To your
lot of
point.
it.
What's your first name?
Laura.
May I put my leg down now?
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Everyone know to be balanced.
Jeff.
Hey, just a quick shameless plug for those of you attending district conference. Chuck teaches fitness, and so Saturday morning, we're gonna have a scheduled fitness
Hey,
class.
all right.
There you go.
There you go.
That's
Made
awesome.
to order,
Another
man.
reason to
That's
sign
awesome.
up if you haven't.
Before I go wine tasting, right?
Yeah, right.
Jeff Lichty Jeff Lieprin is in the room with us right now. The reason I know Jeff from so many years ago, this may be useful to some of you, and then we're going to take a couple more questions, and I think we're running up on time. 10 years ago or something, Jeff, very forward thinking, he knew I had a little program, he would give it a try, which was to have a fundraiser for his club. Do you want to tell everybody how it works quick?
Yeah, so one of the things we determined is we wanted to provide professional development opportunities, training opportunities for our community. Many in our community would send their employees outside our community to travel 100 miles or wherever to a training session. We offered it within our community, had Michael come in, did a fantastic job for us, and we charged accordingly. We were not bashful about what we wanted to get out of that training session, so we netted $10,000 out of that training session for a couple hours.
Yeah, and the reason they net 10 is because I waive my fee because I don't charge my own 501c3 organization, and you get the venue for free. Those are your two biggest expenses. And they liked the concept so much, they started doing it with other speakers, which hurt my feelings.
We had you back.
But then Shelley had me back last year, and now we're all good. We love each other.
We love you, man.
And I don't know. But it was a tougher event with COVID, and it was all kinds of challenges. It was postponed a 3 times, and time up soon? Okay, thank you. But if you're interested in this, just hit me up after. We'll give you a card. We'll talk about it. Usually do a recorded Zoom call so we can help other people learn about it. We get your committee on the call because I do a CTA. You know me, right? Call to action, yes or no. That's all I want to know. And then we do it. And then for some of you, it'd be the biggest fundraiser you've done in some time.
We're gonna put a QR code up on the screen, and mine should work, unlike this morning.
So a little thing I learned this morning is you have to shoot the QR code dead on. If you shoot it from the side, it keystones, and then that's why the lady right in the middle said, "It doesn't work."
But so if you scan the QR code, there is a downloadable resource guide, and I've got it all broken down from sleep, exercise, nutrition, and also a mindness component where, again, it's about taking some time for you. I know that you're going to be developing as leaders this year. Again, that time for yourself. However, 20 minutes, if you can find 20 minutes a day, it's crazy to think how many of us can't find 20 minutes a day for ourselves. Whether it's reading a book, listening to a piece of music, putting some exercise together, but time for yourself, not answering your phone. If you can get up in the morning and not look at your phone for 20 minutes, right, your day can be set in a different direction versus suddenly I've got all these things I have to take care of. Your self-care is out the window because I got to answer this email. No, you don't. It can wait 20 minutes short of some sort of, familial emergency. Take that time for yourself so that you can really grow. So there's a complete resource list there, and there's also a shopping list. So there's a downloadable shopping list that teaches you to shop where the real food is, which generally is the perimeter of the store. It's not the stuff down the aisles, with the exception of some high quality oils and things like that, maybe some spices, coffee, but the real food is on the perimeter of the store. It's stuff that expires. It doesn't sit in your pantry or refrigerator for a couple of years. That's not real food. And your body doesn't know what to do with it, and that starts to create a landslide effect down the road.
They have a beautiful gym facility here. Has anybody been to it yet? Yeah, I'll see you there tomorrow morning. We'll have the place to ourselves. We'll see you there. Thank you so much for all you do for
Yes,
Rotary, everybody.
And good luck this year. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, both of you. So, funny how this works out, we actually